Hello and welcome to the Edition podcast. I'm Charlotte Henry, and this week I'm joined by Marcela Kunova, who runs journalism.co.uk, the grand dame of journalism.co.uk and Newsrewired. How are you, Marcela?
Grand. It's JournalismUK.
Good. Very good. Yeah, so tell us, right, you've taken over the site, changed a few things. So let's go back to me and tell people what Journalism UK was. It was journalism.co.uk. You've slightly rebranded it. Tell us what the backstory is.
Right. And hi, Charlotte, and I'm delighted to be here on the podcast.
I'm really thrilled to have you.
So we are a trade publication focusing on the journalism world. And we've been founded in 1999 when journalism started to appear on that thing called internet that was not very well understood, even less embraced by newsrooms. And the founder, his name was John Thompson, started it as a blog, pretty much in a jobs board, and just exploring what this digital publishing thing is all about. And it grew over the 26 years into pretty holistic service for journalists. So we do still publish editorial and have a jobs board. That we also have a conference called Newsrewired. It takes place twice a year in London. And a number of other services, freelance directory. We provide training courses and generally are a resource for people who are looking at innovation in the media industry. We want to provide them with information to give them the skills and the confidence to just make decisions and keep journalism relevant.
Yeah, I want to come to the conference in a bit because I've been a media partner for, I've been a few times, always enjoy my day there. But let's talk more about the site, because you took over kind of the start of this year, really.
Right. So, start of the year is in January.
Yeah. Well, no, because it's been going on. You've taken over
May last year, yeah.
Exactly. And it's kind of been going on since then. And there's been some transformations that we're particularly seeing now. So what have you changed?
Right. So I took over the website in May. I bought the brand from John, and we are a team of 3. So really, as little people as possible to run operation of this size.
So there's only 3 of you.
Indeed, yeah. And, the website, right. So what didn't work?
Tell us the dirty secrets.
Listen, what we were doing was great. The platform we were doing on was causing a number of issues. First of all, the first thing was design. And you might think it's, whatever, design. I mean, that website hasn't changed since 2011. Someone said, just wait for a few more years, it will be vintage. And people will literally just come and see it out of curiosity. Like, how can something like this still exist on the internet? And, it wasn't just the question of aesthetics. We were, and we still are, providing intelligence on innovation in digital publishing. And what we looked like was, it couldn't have been more at odds with what we were talking about. And at some point, people who were our loyal readers and users kind of got used to it, / got over it. But every time we met someone new, I had people on the call where, were like, oh, yeah, so what do you do? I said, this is our website. And people would open it on their browser, and I would just see them go, you can't have people laughing at your website. It was bad.
Especially when you're working in the space you're working in.
Right, exactly. So, it was really causing reputational damage. And it was noisy. It was extremely hard to navigate. Lots of money-making features were hidden in the noise. And unless you truly knew that website and knew how to navigate it, you just couldn't get your head around it. And I think loads and loads of search inquiries have probably just been lost to people who just abandoned.
You can see people sort of bouncing off
the
site.
Give up. So what did we do? So in a space of, I bought it in beginning of May. Then 2 weeks later was Newsrewired conference. The timing really was crazy. So once we kind of got
Could I just say, when I saw you at Newsrewired, because I was a media partner for the latest one, you were tired, Marcela.
Let's put it that way. The main Newsrewired, we literally just completed the company buyout, and it's been long and emotionally and financially
Sure,
draining
these things are
process.
never straightforward.
And for the November Newsrewired, we literally just completed the rebrand and relaunch. So it went on the 2nd of November, and then the 26th of November was the conference. So we just need to change the timing of the way we
Yeah,
we
you
take
didn't
on
do
big
things the easy
projects.
way.
And so the first thing was, once we kind of got our act together after Newsrewired, we started to look into how to modernize the platform. So we needed, it was absolutely obvious we need to get a new CMS, the back end and front end. I mean, everything needed to change. What we were using was a bespoke CMS that was created by this one guy in the 90s, and no one in the whole entire world knew how that thing worked apart from this guy.
Clunky.
So, and it couldn't be changed. The structure, the design, nothing really could be changed. There were few front runners. I mean, we obviously worked in this space, so we have insights, just by doing our job, we knew about lots of tools. And there were loads of CMSs. We had a short list of CMSs that were great. I was like, yeah, this would really work. And then the quotes started to come in, and we were looking at it, and I thought, you know what? And this kind of goes to your point about sort of AI, where publishing is going. I was really looking at these quotes. I understand what you're paying for.
Sure.
But I thought, with where internet is going in terms of search and agentic search and sort of zero-click future, I don't believe that if I spend £70,000 on a new CMS, it will work £70,000 better.
No.
If we spend this money, we'll never make this money back. Not with where publishing is now.
Were you seriously getting quotes in that kind of region?
Yeah. I mean, if you take everything into account, so migration, development, obviously bespoke features, and the time it takes, and the testing, and prototyping, and maintenance, and the rest of it,
Yeah.
that's about what it takes. I mean, for the website of
Wow.
our size, I mean, it was 26. We had around 1 million articles in our archives.
1 million.
Yeah, 1 million.
Wow.
So, I mean, but articles, it was everything. It was editorial articles, it was job posts, training posts, announcements, whatever it can be. So it was a massive job. I mean, it truly was a massive job. And so kind of by elimination, we said, well, what do we really want? What do we really need? And so instead of looking like what CMS can do what I need, we flipped the process. Where do we need to get? What do we want to be able to do at the end? And then we kind of work backwards. And we decided to replatform to Ghost. And there were a number of reasons for that. One was very much, I see the publishing going more in the direction of creator economy. And we wanted a tool that will have this sort of, solid newsletter feature baked in it, social media posting, and, podcast and the rest of it, where we see how creating content has to be much easier than going through a gigantic CMS.
Yeah, and hoping Google sends people your way.
The second reason was obviously cost. Lots of you don't have to purchase it, but it's still open source. So unlike some other competitors of Ghost, it doesn't lock you in, keep your data, and if you want to replatform, take everything, or can impose costs on you, like we saw with Substack. When they saw to Apple Store, suddenly subscription had to increase by 30%. You can't do anything about it. So at least for now, it hasn't got, the structure of it is different. And worst comes to worst, if we needed to leave, it's open source, so we can just take everything, every platform.
There's so many interesting points from this, and this is quite a nerdy conversation, but that's fine. This is
Very
a
nerdy conversation.
This is a nerdy show. It's fine. You're a nerd. I'm a nerd. You're in a safe space, Marcela. It's fine.
Hello to all the nerds.
Yeah, exactly. You're in a safe space here. But the point is, lots of publishers are thinking about this stuff. And are having to have the same conversations that you were having and the same thought processes that you were having. Now, I don't think we're going to ever end up in a world, or particularly want to end up in a world, where everyone is publishing either on Substack or Ghost. But people have to think in the way you thought about how everything connects, that everything looks clean and simple. And most importantly, what I'm getting from what you're saying is the most important part of it was that you could talk and connect directly with your readers. You weren't relying on Google to send people to you as they once did.
That, definitely. I mean, in the end of the day, what do you really need? You need to be able to create this direct relationship with your audience. And I mean, the SEO went up, the traffic went up, discoverability went up, even with Ghost.
Interesting.
And looking into it, but it was from where we started, the bar was so low, even just like loading speed or the complete basic things, right? The theme, etc. Then actually having an off-the-shelf solution suited us. I mean, there were downsides. I will get to those. But
Please.
by sort of elimination, that really was the best choice we could have done. And I think what was decisive why we went with Ghost is that we just bought a company. I mean, I didn't have a penny left to invest. I don't run on the purchase. Going with Ghost just allowed us to actually do it rather than spending time trying to raise investment, potentially sell equity. We are still 100% shareholder. We are 100% independent. We have no investors to answer to. We answer only to our readers, and we wanted to keep it that way. So I said, what? In the end of the day, the independence and the speed
Yep.
are more important than bespoke feature or this thing or that thing that could have been maybe done better by publishing CMS, but it would not allow us to move as quickly and decisively and independently as we did.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want to let the best be the enemy of the good. Did you ever think about moving to Substack and just launching on Substack?
No, the main reason was exactly the kind of being locked in
Okay.
terms of I mean, there is also, well, the other conversation is monetization.
Uh-huh.
We do not want to charge for content and still want to operate on the free content basis. So on that, Substack was a bit less interesting for us. I think it's more relevant to creators who look to monetize their
Want to
content,
subscribe.
and that's not our business model.
Okay, so let's break down the business model now. You've led us there. There's a bit of a reg wall. There's a registration wall when I
Mhm.
go to certain articles, but there's no paywall. I've never asked. I don't think I've read lots of articles on your website. I've never sent you a penny. I'm very sorry. But what is the monetization then? Are we talking adverts? Are we talking, uh, obviously I know you do events and conferences and training. Is that the key to the monetization then?
Yeah, so all of those, as you said. So we want to keep on providing free content because we believe that it's absolutely necessary for people who not only don't want
Mm.
us, but who can't send us a penny because they are the one who need to innovate and build a trustworthy journalism, but maybe they don't have spare cash to send us. So the main monetization is events, as you alluded. So it's the Newsrewired conference. There's both ticket sales and sponsorships and advertising. In terms of advertising, we have JobSport that has gone a little bit quieter, but is picking up, which we are extremely happy about. There is training courses, so we both provide both open training courses that you can sign up for,
Mm.
and we also provide bespoke training courses for companies who want to train their teams. So that's going on kind of sort of behind the scenes, and we have a freelance directory as well where you can
Yeah, I've
advertise your.
just fired that up on my other screen. It's a
And
very
again,
clever idea.
and we are building more directories, and essentially what we try to do is to help people discover more people and more products to make the better decisions about how to run their newsrooms.
And so where does the editorial fit into all of that?
So editorial, really, it's core of our mission. We really want to inform people. We want to empower them to make the right decisions, or get an edge on their competitors. Just get the intel, because the journalists are clever. I've never met anything like a stupid journalist. I mean, they're
Really?
ambitious.
You
Well,
sure?
in other, maybe in others, in other areas,
Are you sure
but
about that?
you know, by and large, okay, let's say by and large,
Okay.
journalists are clever, ambitious people. They want to have an impact. They want to build their operation. They want to keep on producing good content. But they often, you don't really have these conversations in the newsroom. You will talk about stories, but you're not going to talk about business model and discoverability and distribution
No.
and just nerdy things. And we want these conversations to take place in newsrooms, because if you don't have sustainable operations, you don't have sustainable journalism. And
Mm-hmm.
as we sort of recently put our vision and mission out. We don't want we don't accept the future without impactful journalism because our industry refused to evolve. And this is what I see, that this resistance to change and resistance to evolution. And, stories are one of the way to help drive that impact. We do want people to have this conversation. We want them to try new things. We want them to think about impact and distribution and why what they do matters and why they're doing what they're doing. So editorial sits squarely in the middle of our mission. Now, in terms of monetization, for now, we can provide this content for free. As you say, is a registration wall as of today, actually.
Oh, right, yes.
As of today. So we do want to have registered users. As I said, we are 100% independent, so we do not share data with anyone, no advertisers, no external company. Really, we just want to know who reads us, how we can connect with people, how we can better serve their needs. And the reason why we try to increase the number of, or why our number one KPI is registered users, is that we want to have the direct relationships with people. So we want to bypass sort of the platforms and truly talk to people as them being.
Forgive me for interrupting, and I think this is the kind of point where we need to take a step back, actually. And you're the perfect person to discuss it with, because not only do you run an editorial product, you talk to lots of other people that run editorial products, you run a conference where people talk about all these editorial products. Everyone says now, look, you have to have this direct relationship with readers. I do that. Please sign up to the newsletter if you haven't already. Newsletter.theedition.net. But we all have to set that back to that. Do you think that really is the only solution now, or do you think people are actually getting fed up with always being asked to send over their email address?
Probably both.
Yeah. I think that's right.
But, I mean, it's not like, it's not some alien concept. Like, there has always, people were always buying news. When people talk about paywall, it's like, oh, paywall is this new concept. Isn't. There has always been a paywall. It was called newsstand.
It was called going to the shop, yeah.
And you were literally, giving your money to the person at the news kiosk and getting a newspaper. None of this is new. And, you always had newspaper would talk to readers by the very fact the readers had a paper in their hands. And there was an advert. You had call to action. You had advertising, classifieds, questions, editor's letter, whatever. There was always some degree of reader engagement. Although there need to be, obviously, should have been much more. That is probably a different conversation about how we made journalism.
I think I've said this on shows before, and you're a really good person to ask about this. I think as journalists, we're really bad at asking for money for our work, and we sort of actually feel bad about it. Like, I think maybe the sort of business people in the media are okay at doing it, but us, the people that write the stuff, are really bad at asking for money and are a bit embarrassed when we do it.
It's uncomfortable. And I think absolutely everyone is uncomfortable with this, discussing money. Ask anyone who goes to a job interview.
Right. Yeah, the bit they hate is when they ask for... Yeah.
No one likes to talk about, but it's a valid question, and obviously you can't. I think it depends what you ask for. If you say, I can't do this unless I get paid, I think people get it. And from what I know, people are happy to pay for things they value. And if anything, once you pay for something, you care more because you feel invested. You spend.
I do agree with that.
So, there is no reason why journalists shouldn't be asking to pay for their content. And again, it depends on the kind of business model you have. But, we do run all these other revenue streams, so we can. If you want, it's almost like our content is a shopping window for all the other things we do, because you can see the expertise we have and access to experts that we have. So then if I tell you, well, come to a conference because this is the quality of that times 10, it's much easier to say, okay, well, I can understand why I need to come.
Yeah. For you, it's that terrible expression, top of the funnel, isn't it?
So, yeah.
I'm sorry to say, use that expression. Right, you've got away with it for 20 minutes. Let's talk about AI.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's when I've been to Newsrewired, it's the dominant topic. You've had some fantastic speakers on it. I mean, I have to tell you, one of the most inspiring talks I've been to over the last couple of years was at Newsrewired. And I forget the gentleman's name who gave it, but he was very blunt and basically told us all to forget about AI and go back to doing some proper journalism. Was actually the most uplifting thing was just like, no, AI is not going to kill you. And I left that really inspired. But also, of course, we know as journalists that there are, and I do it, there are tools I use for all sorts of things that are really helpful that are AI tools. One thing I've noticed with you at the New Journalism UK site is that a few of your articles, most of the articles now end with the line, this article was drafted by an AI assistant before it was edited by a human. Explain that to me.
So we have two main tools. One is called No One, and it's an AI tool that is trained on only our own proprietary data. So again, we kind of come back to this sort of independence and a closed loop. So it doesn't get all the crap from the internet. It's trained only on us. So you can build the kind of knowledge about your company, about what you do. It's the kind of unique source of truth. And then when you ask it things, it only considers it from the point of view of what you put in it. And that for us is extremely important because unlike, ChatGPT or Claude, clever as they are, once you start to kind of pull everything from the internet, and obviously there's ethical questions about how these models came to be, et cetera,
and the issue of hallucinations,
and it's just hallucination and the rest of it. So the tool that we use is trained on our data and it only uses our own writing. It's been trained on our articles, etc. So we do the interviews. So for example, I will interview you, I will break it all down, I take notes. So the way I do an interview, I take notes. I don't like to record unless I have to. And then I feed the notes to No One. And it kind of it writes it in full sentences. I mean, you know what the notes look like.
Sure.
Essentially makes sense, kind of cleans up the...
You don't want to see the notes I make from interviews is scribbled.
But then I train in on my style of writing.
Right.
With the sort of expression I use, the type of sentence structure I use, just plain language, no jargon, and the rest of it. And then I go through it. I say, okay, so now I have full sentences that make some degree of sense. It's still, I mean, machine still reads like a machine. But, you go through the sentences and change them. But once you have the first draft, it's so much faster to fix it rather than try to rewrite the whole article from,
That's really interesting. So I was wondering about this in terms of, one, the speed, and two, the quality, because those are the two things that are the big debating points around AI. So first of all, you seem quite comfortable with the quality, because you can go back and make
100%.
it sound human. Do you get more articles out? Like, do you publish more because you're doing stuff this way?
So the answer is no. And I can tell you, AI or no AI, I've never heard a single person crying for more content. I've never heard a single, oh, if only there were more articles published, I would just love it. Like, why don't I get just 10 newsletters instead of 75?
I can think of some major publishers that don't agree with you, who seem to be churning stuff out.
Right. And no one needs it. And the point has never been to churn out more content.
Okay.
There can be case for some articles we would otherwise perhaps not be doing because it would be taking too much time, and now we can do it. For example, the humans in journalism, it's not the most engaged content, but people who read this section about sort of culture and people in journalism really appreciated content. So there is not maybe the crucial give me the edge, help me, educate me type content where people primarily come to our website to find, but it's a feel-good content. And I think we need to celebrate as well successes on the industry in history, in the past. For
sure. How many times have I moaned to you about the sort of acceptance of managed decline? I think if you look through our WhatsApp chat, it's
a lot.
It's me moaning the whole time. Why is everyone so miserable?
So, we can certainly do more variety of articles, even if it's like, okay, maybe this is not a core thing, but it's important, it's a good content. But the aim has never been to produce more content. Rather, it was to produce it faster so we can actually do loads of other work. We are 3 people. Like in Before the pandemic, we were 8.
Wow.
And nothing really substantially stopped.
Wow.
Let's put it that way. I mean, some things stopped, or at least got, slowed down or got reduced a little bit. We still 1 or 2 things. But, for 3 people to run 2 big conferences, training, various directory, bespoke training as well, board sales, all the audience engagement, all the audience research we are doing, going to events, we, we speak in podcasts, go to conferences, we're involved in our readers' lives, provide mentoring. The amount of work we do is absolutely insane. And, I step up, and I need to do financial planning and non-journalistic things. Jacob
So
is
your
community
family.
editor. And yeah, I mean, I have a 3-year-old as well. So, running this operation without some help would be undoable. So AI helps us to do work. But the point has never been to, if we wanted to, we could probably churn out more. I don't see the demand.
Yeah. That's really interesting. And are you positive or negative on the idea that more sites will operate in this way? There'll be lots of journalists listening to this show going, "Oh my God, Marcela, what are you doing? You're going to cost journalists jobs. Why are you showing that we could, we need human writing?" Why are you positive about doing it this way?
It's, I'm not really sure I have like very intelligent answer to this question. I don't know where the industry is going. I can tell you this year, with how the finances worked and with the replatforming and rebranding and the rest of it, we couldn't have hired an author. Just it either, the question was not hiring or not hiring a human. The problem was do it this way or not do it at all.
But you understand my wider question. Do you think more news? I mean, look, I've done stories about how Reach use AI. Other newsrooms are using it for different things. But do you understand the sort of core of my question and what people will be worrying about?
Is the industry shrinking? Essentially, this is the question, or is it going to shrink?
To a certain, I mean, yeah, ultimately that is what it comes down to. But should we, or is it productive for journalists or positive for journalists to be creating articles on the basis of AI? And, I know that you're spending time making it human, making sure it's accurate. That's fine. Do you think this is a positive way forward for journalism to produce articles in this way?
It's a philosophical question.
Yeah, it is a bit, yeah. It's the kind of thing we might discuss at Newsrewired, right?
One thing that AI can't do is actually go and source these stories. Like AI doesn't understand
Absolutely
things.
right.
It's not human
Absolutely
in that
right.
case. So journalists' jobs is to go and source these stories and understand them and have enough knowledge to call people up on their bullshit. You know when stories are emotional. You know when you need to be hard hitting. You know which quote makes sense. AI cannot make these decisions. And I
You're
think
absolutely right.
journalism jobs, like probably all the jobs really, are now more about judgment and less about tasks. I think if people understand journalism job as task of sitting down and transcribing an interview, most journalists started like this. We went to newsrooms. We've been given an interview by some senior journalists and spent hours and hours typing.
Now we put it into Otter or a similar thing.
And I've never seen anyone saying, "Oh, but we should be all still typing our interviews because AI is doing it." Well, guess what? You get those notes and you can actually do the journalism. I think if anything, you can do much better stories because you get these tasks out of the way.
There is certainly a case, and I've made it to a certain extent, that some AI tools free you up to do the bigger investigative things. I think there's a really strong case for that. And the truth is, it's about finding the balance, right? So getting an AI to transcribe your interview, which basically every journalist does now, is a very positive thing because it speeds time. You're always going to listen back to check the quote you use is accurate. I think that's an excellent. People will worry, I think, about whether starting a blank page based on AI is positive or not. But of course, I totally accept that you as a human can then draw out the bits of the story you want.
I mean, AI is a tool. It's not a master. And I
Correct.
think it becomes problematic when people start to put a bit too much faith in it. I would never ask a tool, create me a story on X, or you use a tool for something completely outlandish. Like that is not what it's created for. It doesn't think, it's a very clever way to predict words, how they will come together. That is all there is. So it can't think. And, every so often when there is loads of interview notes and I say, now it needs to be shortened. I was like, oh, wait a minute, that bit is important. You can't just get rid of it. No, back. And you
Because
rewrite
that's
the
your
whole thing.
human journalistic instinct.
Obviously. And, we are a trade publication as well. So, the kind of stories we cover are not the, 6 months investigation into something. But like
Sure.
when you are a journalist, those stories are no AI will ever do them. No person will talk to an AI over you.
No, I
No.
feel really strong about it. And that is and we're going to end on a positive, because you make sure we do it on Newsrewired. That's what I'm going to do on this show, because I really strongly believe that. I think we're going to learn the human value, or what the value that humans bring to journalism. I really do believe that. So yes, using Gemini to do a brief bio of your interview subject, or, I use Riverside for this podcast and it will edit the podcast for me and that saves me time. All of that is really positive. I do think that is different to an AI drafting an article, but I also accept that you would never just hit publish on what the AI has produced.
And
because you can't.
Why would you? And, it's still, if you read through it, it's 85% my note writing just in full sentences.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can't create something that I haven't written in it.
Yeah. It's a really interesting development. So my final question really is, you said JournalismUK started in 9. Let's go 2029. Do you think the site you now run will look like?
So a number of things we are doing. One is a feature called Ask JUK. So we are going to use a large language model for search in our archives. So instead of trying to go through, we exported about 100,000 articles in the end. And that's a lot of knowledge about journalism. It's still
of the 1 million you exported 100,000. Right.
That's right. And that covers, not just editorial, but that was about what we were looking at. So this, we are not going to sit there and wait for ChatGPT or whatever to crawl our websites and then, and then bitch about, but people go to ask ChatGPT instead of asking us. Well, guess what? We want to become the destination site too. And, and naturally, zero-click search is clever and it's useful. I'd much rather ask something to give me an answer rather than spending lots of valuable time trying to look for it and then skim the article and try to get the answer out. So this model, again, is trained on our closed loop data. So it's only our articles that you can search. You cannot search external web. Then you come to our website, and if you wonder about how to use AI in journalism, is it ethical? What's the revenue model? Is FT implementing or whatever that can be, you can just ask it and it gives you an answer from our reporting. And we truly want people to have the opportunity to access this knowledge in a way that makes sense to them and just unearth that important information that they need in that very moment. I will go as far as saying I'm not sure the future of B2B publishing is in articles.
Okay. I
see a future of producing artifacts that are digestible by something like that large language model search.
Well, and you're coming back on the show in a bit, so we'll discuss that next time you're on the show.
Nerd. But, we definitely want to embrace this behavior, but just give people quality content, ethically sourced content. That, people who are doing this content are paid. They know what they're doing, their editorial standards. Mm-hmm. This is not... It's instructed not to hallucinate. So if it doesn't know the answer, it just says, sorry, I don't have enough information to answer your question. And conversely, we can see these inquiries, and these for us will be the story leads, really, because if I see that you are wondering about X and there is not enough content on that, that is our cue. We need to get more information on that. So we really want to become that destination that will give people, there was a source of information of what people will need. And we are doubling up on directories as well. So we want to help people discover, especially tech and consultants, because it's just too much. It's too much noise. It's too much products. How do you choose? How do you even see through anything? And, we just really want to be there to help people, journalists, newsroom creators make better decisions.
Fascinating. I look forward to following all the developments and seeing you at Newsrewired in the not too distant future. Breathe.
14th of May.
Breathe. It's going to be okay. So the 14th of May is the next Newsrewired. Obviously, you're at journalism.co.uk is where we can read all the work that you and your colleagues do. Where else could people keep up with you, Marcela?
LinkedIn is probably the best way. I post loads of things that I do not post on our platform, and subscribe to our newsletter. That's where the most action really takes place. I mean, our website is just articles. Newsletter is where the real juicy bits are published, and they're not on the website, and it's free.
Wonderful. I'm Charlotte Henry, and I'm at Charlotte A. Henry across social media. You can head to theedition.net, which is ADD, to sign up to my newsletter, read different articles, watch some videos, all sorts of good stuff going on there. My latest book, Streaming Wars, is out now, and you can buy that wherever you buy books. Thank you again, Marcela, for joining the show, and I'll see you all next week.
See you.